show we have for you. Just who we have in the studio. How you making it, brother?
Hey, Henry, how you doing, man? Double bump. Cover, hello.
They say 6 feet apart, but I mean, like you were talking earlier, if you have six, I mean, 6 feet apart, I mean, that leaves almost all us men out.
Well, pretty much, but I
5 feet.
mean, well, now, I mean, the problem is now is that you don't even get to have the fun of like being with someone when, you know, 90s when I made this record. You could die from having relations with somebody, but at least you had the fun experience. Now, you can't get within 6 feet and you might die anyway. I think it all got turned a little backwards somehow with this COVID thing, but you know, I'm just trying to keep it all moving forward, and always happy to see you. We've never had a bad time,
Never.
and we haven't even had a beer together.
I know, don't bring that in.
Don't bring that in.
Hey, we've got some
today.
Rob Mullins, the entire album on the backdrop. So were you going to hear it in kind of like our bed of music? So, and this is how it sounds. This is Rob Mullins. So if you're on the radio and you hear it, I'm just going to turn it way down.
Cool.
So
Yeah, this is the Music for Lovers remaster that I just recently completed. It's a Valentine's Day release. It comes out officially on all the major platforms tomorrow on the 12th. And for all of you men out there who are last-minute Valentine's guys, this is the music that you want to save your butt going through the weekend.
To save your butt.
Well, you know, men can be kind of slow sometimes on the uptake with that stuff, but I've already been getting a lot of great comments from people that have been writing in about the pre-release, because it's available for a pre-release on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, all over the place. And this one guy sent me an email yesterday, said, this is serious baby-making music.
And you could throw it up on your Bose stereo system, crank it up, and then you get your wine out, you bring out your chocolate-covered strawberries.
Oh, yeah.
And then make love to I mean, not to Rob Mullins, unless you have some. He's smiling.
Well, it's kind of funny because, you know, if you think about it, I actually have been in a lot of bedrooms, you know, over the years this has come out. And but it's just my music, you know, it's not me actually. And it's kind of like comfort, you know, music like this is comfort music for your heart. That's how I look at it, because with all the problems going on in the world right now, people are turning to music that they were familiar with. A lot of people have sent me pictures of the kids that they made to this music.
And named him Rob.
And they're all named Henry.
Oh my gosh.
I told them.
Oh, Henry, I mean Rob.
I told them that's my middle name is Henry. And you can find me at KUHS. But now it's grandkids, too.
And that's it right there, Rob, isn't it? Rob Mullins,
Oh,
Music
yeah,
for Lovers.
music for lovers. And it was a fun time in my life when I made this album, because I was living in Huntington Beach. I had a residency gig every Friday night at a great club. Lots of great players coming through there. Pretty much everybody in the jazz and the smooth jazz scene in Southern California came through there. Michael Linkton, Jeff Cashua, Eric Marienthal, Wilton Felder from the Crusaders, who was my good buddy, would drop in there. Peter White, who was you know, living mostly in the UK, he would come do a big concert in LA, and then he would call and say, "Can I come by your gig and sit in and play?" And I'd be like, "No, please don't."
Just, you know, like,
well, but he would, and he's a great player too. So, you know, it was an era. This is kind of like a period piece. And it also, Henry, what goes along with this is that it's an album. This isn't something that you want to just, you know, one song and then you're going to go listen to something else. It's a concept album designed to help guys out.
It was interesting because you said that, and last week I played 4 cuts of it. And right after that, you know, I kept going a few other songs. Then I started getting the texts, and who is that? I just mentioned who it was.
Wow, great.
Yeah, it really went over good. I said, this is the prelude to who's coming to the studio, and you can hear it on the backdrop. If you're on the radio, you can hear it gently playing back there. Heart to Heart is playing right now.
Nice. That's first cut on the record. Yeah, the song title's Heart to Heart, Hopes and Dreams, Tonight's the Night. You're really having a conversation, you know. It could be with your Valentine that you've had for many years, or you're just meeting a new person and you'd like to have some chill music to play to just kind of help move things along. Because music, as they I've
Well,
said
he
since the
would.
90s,
He's
it
a
really
great
comes
player,
down
too,
to
so-
it's the soundtrack of your life, you know, and whatever that you have playing. Instrumental music, I think, is particularly good because you're not going to get distracted with the words and the singing and the meaning and the inferred meanings and all that stuff. It's just chill music to just kind of help everything slide together cool. That's it.
And it's true about all what you have going on here, Rob. Let the audience know how many albums you've done. I always say 40 plus.
40 plus. Well, that's a good range.
You know,
you can still pull a 40 plus.
No,
I thought you were
yeah.
60.
Well, yeah, I am, but I mean, I can reach the 6 foot.
You could reach the 6
and I
foot
told
under.
you why. You know, it's like
Don't mention it again. Because he's one of those people. This is the thing. Is like he brings up this crazy stuff in the back room before we get started, and we're howling, and we can't say any of this stuff on air, and then he starts saying it.
Everybody knows me. They say, "Oh, Andrew, where are you getting that?"
Where are you getting this material? But I know because it's from my generation. Like we used to
Always
have
have.
comics like George Carlin,
Oh my
who we thought was really hilarious and really fun. And
George Carlin would bring out the real stuff, though,
oh yeah,
about real life, but make it so freaking funny.
he had a knack for that. But in terms of the albums, 40 plus is really where I'm at. I mean, this is a remaster, a re-release of other music. But if you go online now and go to Apple, there's 233 songs of mine on Apple, and that's not everything. Like, you know, you can put out an album, and other recording artists out there that I want to say hi to that are listening know this. It's not guaranteed to get on Apple Music. It's not guaranteed to get on Spotify. It's not guaranteed to be on Amazon. They have people, curators and listeners and playlist people that actually decide that for you. So I feel really lucky that pretty much
Yeah.
everything that I put out
Is on there.
is coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things. Sometimes some groups or individual artists and whatnot, they all get on Spotify and iTunes and all that, and they'll get lost in the millions of others. But yours, Rob, just floats right up there with the best of them because you've been around a long time. You know how to get this done. Plus the promotion. You know, we love to promote your stuff because you're a Denver icon, and everybody says he belongs to Denver. No, he belongs to LA. No, he belongs to Denver. Okay, I'm gonna put him on the freaking spot. What city you like the best? Come on, if you say LA, I'll kid you.
I like everywhere.
Oh, see, he's trying to play it off really good.
I like Tokyo. I like Moscow. I like Facebook. I like Denver. You know, I'm not a WhatsApp guy. This is kind of weird. I had this lovely lady from Singapore the other day hit me up on Facebook, and she's got this picture of herself, and she looks incredible. And she said, "Oh, well," you know, and she sent me a friend request. So I'm thinking, this doesn't happen this often. She's probably about 23, and she's in the little sunny hat and the thing. And so we start talking on Facebook Messenger, and she says, "Well, what do you do?" And I'm thinking to myself, you sent me a Facebook friend request, and it says right on there that.
And you wonder why they do that.
Why do they do that? And then we're talking for about 10 minutes, and then she goes, "Oh, well, if you want to talk to me any longer, you have to install WhatsApp on your phone." And I was like, is that what it's come down to? It's like, if I don't have the same app as you, then we're not even going to be friends? Apparently not, so.
Well, you know, WhatsApp is also a different, little app that you can talk directly to each other or online. Or
Right. Well, I used it in India last summer because it was the only thing that would work. Facebook wouldn't work over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's, because we go on live all over the world. That camera there is, we're on our Twitter page, we're on our YouTube page, we're on our Facebook, or not only that, but our website carries it in large format
Right.
too.
Well, you guys should see all the stuff he's got in this room. It's like he's either the world's greatest high-tech genius or the world's loneliest man.
He throws out things.
Because he's got
You wonder
stuff.
why he catches.
He's got
He's got
stuff.
stuff in yours, like that's George Carlin. You got all this stuff, so.
So
And
much
these
stuff.
lights have lightened us up. It makes us look great.
Well, I think those lights are new. Since
are
because
they
I haven't
new?
been here for I did Melissa's show
Yeah, I remember.
in September, Ignite with Melissa. Shout out to the whoop whoop girl. She cracks me up, man. She had me laughing like insane because she was just all the time just having such a good vibe. and such charisma. You know, she's a really warm-hearted.
And let me tell you about Melissa. You know,
I want to know.
Rob is a really, you know, an individual that's traveled the world, has been around all these big names, acts and stars. She goes, why don't, you know, and I says, and to her, I'm sitting next to Rob, and to her it's like, I didn't get very nervous. And then she starts looking at everywhere you've been and everything you've done, and you can see her like, whoa.
Uh-oh, that's Brad Pitt. That's Bruce Willis. This is fantastic Negrito, who's up for a Grammy for best contemporary blues, and his real name is Xavier. Shout out, bro. Hope you win. Grammys got moved. You probably knew that.
Yeah.
They were supposed to already happen, but the Grammys are happening on March the 14th, I believe, now.
And
to the 14th or the 21st.
I wanted to ask you this before I forget, you know, because I've got a short memory.
Oh yeah, well that's not the only thing short about
it. Where was I going with this?
You already forgot.
I just did.
You talking about Xavier or?
No, the halftime show. He reminded me of the halftime show.
Oh, the Super Bowl?
Yeah, no, wait, before you go there, I wanted, as a musician, you're going to hear it from Rob Mullins. What did you think of the weekend? Now, you know, they say you're supposed to have sex before the weekend.
Oh, so he's in reverse order.
Yeah, he's in reverse order.
So he's already screwed.
Yeah.
He's already going backwards.
Yeah.
You're supposed to start with a sex and then have the weekend? Is that
yeah, that's the way it's supposed to go.
Honestly, you know, if you want me to tell
or the way they said it,
that
the Chiefs were effed before they had the weekend.
Oh, that's right. There's a lot of Chiefs fans around.
And
right.
then he did the 50 Shades of Grey song. You remember 50 Shades of Grey?
Look, man, you know.
Here he goes. Coming from Rob Mullins' mouth. Now, if you want to replay this video, you're going to hear it. He's got this smirk on his face.
I'm not feeling very smirky, man. I'm actually very disappointed in that show.
See?
I was super disappointed in the show, and here's one of the reasons I was disappointed in it. The musicians in there weren't real musicians, and I support people that actually play instruments and spend 20 years getting good at the cello, and then you look up in the thing and nobody's playing. It's just a bunch of people with these fake instruments, not
really
actually
jamming.
No, they're not even musicians. They're actors. They're not playing their instrument.
The actual cello, the actual violin.
No, it's all pre-record. There's nothing live going on. I mean, back in the day, they used to just have, like, you know, a band would come out, like Springsteen.
Like Bruno Mars,
yeah,
too.
Bruno Mars, and he would kill it.
Yeah,
he would just kill it, and it would just be all about the music. But now there's this dark, shady kind of imagery that he has. And it's not a new thing for The Weeknd. He's always done these kind of ghoulish, creepy, blood on the face. No, if you go back and watch his earlier stuff.
Looked like, you know, because all the Chiefs were in the locker room during halftime looking for their jock straps. Well, if you look at that video, they were covered, all their faces, you know, were covered with the jock straps.
That's so disgusting.
You told me not to cut up. I'm sorry.
No, man, I hadn't thought of it that way, but now you've ruined it even further for me, and I can't unhear that comment, and I can't unsee the new image in my head of
Rob always does this. He always brings out the worst, and I don't know what it is, because he's got this energy that he brings in here. If his piano was here, he'd probably jam out and do this. No.
I'm going to do that one of these days. I'll come in and bring my keyboard.
Progressive scaling. This is Henry.
Yeah, I'll do that at some point. But I'm glad that you asked about that, because, see, the guy is a big selling artist, and the music on the radio, well produced. Sounds great. Talented guy. But get over all the dark imagery, man. I was thinking if, you know, I don't have any kids, but if you had like a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old watching this, and you see all these guys in these masks, and it's like a horror show, and there's blood and stuff, that's not the Super Bowl to me, bro.
That's right.
It's not. The Super Bowl to me is the planes are flying over, and everybody's having a good time.
Michael Jackson jamming, the Bruno Mars,
the Who Tom Petty did it, and he was great.
The rocking out the right way.
Tom Petty was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So good.
All the good artists that came out and just jammed out. You know, you know what I mean? Everybody expects the Super Bowl to be, okay, let's dance and let's cheer our beers, our wines, or like they would say, the chili Rihanna, and there's a picture of Rihanna on the end of the chili, you know?
Chili Rihanna. Now, see, that's the whole reason to drive to Denver, is for the chili Rianos. Now, I found a new place to eat them. It's called El Topatillo or something.
Tapatio.
Oh my God, have you had that, like the soft chili Relleno there? Don't get the crispy one.
Yeah, because it
But
just doesn't eat a soft.
no, the soft one is like it's a meal for a day and a half. It's so good. And I always get the number 15 when I go there because it comes with an enchilada and the beans and rice and everything. It's good, man.
You know, Rob, it's like, for some reason, Denver and the Denver area is a chili city.
It is.
The best chilies and chili types of foods and Mexican foods and, you know, all the different varieties and always good and hot.
Yeah.
It's not just, well, they have the milds and stuff, but mainly they serve it hot.
With the green chilies, and then, you know, you can get like at Las Delicias,
Yeah.
another shameless plug because I love that place too. I mean, I've been eating at the original one at 19th and Penn since they opened in '76.
Yeah.
And I still go down there. I like the one off of Colorado Boulevard as well, but those, what do they do, Henry? You can explain it because you're more of an expert than I am. They like ferment them, or they cure the chilies,
Yeah,
and
and
they're
then
like
they put your cheese inside, and then they put it in the batter, and then they deep fry it, and then bring it out. And,
good. Okay,
This we're
we're
right
signing off.
back. We said at the same time.
Thanks a lot.
We
Good.
said this at the same time.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Okay, what's that number for Las Delicias again?
And it's just right up the street. There's one off of 84th, just up the hill there.
It wouldn't be the one off 84th and Broadway.
Sorta, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like that one?
No, not at all. No, I love it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I go there after this.
I go to the one that's in my kitchen.
Well,
I ruined this whole day.
no, actually, I'm a great chef with like barbecue and steaks and stuff like that, but I like to get those chilies that you can even get them like what are they called, Santa Fe chilies or something?
yeah.
It's like the strips, and they're in the sauce, and they're in the can or the sauce or whatever, and you stick those along with the carne asada.
Like he said, we'll be right back.
So anyway, we're getting hungry, and hopefully you're getting horny, you know, because that's what this album is about.
That's right. And this song is Nadine. Now, what made you name the song Nadine? There's a meaning behind that song.
There is.
Nadine.
There was a
Was she
girl.
good?
She tried to stab me in the middle of the night.
Well, she must have been Latina. Oh, I love you, Rob, I love you. A minute late.
There was a girl from this era, and she's on my Facebook, so I'm not going to say her name, Priscilla. But I remember she came over to spend the night with me, like back in the day in that era one time, and this is, Huntington Beach era, and we're laying there, and she says, "You better be really nice to me, because if you're not, tonight when you're sleeping, I'm going to stab you."
Oh my gosh. Did she really? No.
She really said
You
that.
were like this. This is how Rob was sleeping that night. One eye open, then he switch off.
Like a
Rest.
Cairn
Yeah.
Terrier in the woods, baby. I mean,
one eye open. That's the way you're supposed to always sleep. A lot of men don't know this, especially after you play the Rob Mullins music.
Yeah, this is a beautiful segue. So back to Nadine.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's the deal. What happened with this girl is there was a place in L.A. I would commute from Orange County to L.A. and there was a place called what it was called, and it was on Santa Monica Boulevard, Valario's or Dario's, something like that. And they had this little kind of mixer thing for different artistic people to come, and they had you know how those things go. There's like a little book reading, and then they show a little art thing, and then they play a little jazz. And this girl was sitting in front of me, and she looked so beautiful from the back that I thought, I'm just going to have to tap her on the shoulder and see what happens when she turns around. It could be Satan. It could be Cindy Crawford.
Oh my God, Satan.
So I did. I just tapped her on the back, and she was like, "Hello." And I went, "Uh-oh, South African or Australian." So you know you're in trouble right away, because the accent will kill you.
You could tell right away just that quick.
The accent gets me, man. Did you ever notice that anything spoken in a British accent seems 20% more true?
Yeah.
Like, why is that? Like, if you watch the news here and you go, okay, it's the news, but then you turn on, like, BBC, and they're like, in that accent, saying something, well, what that accent? That's definitely they're telling the truth. Yeah. So Nadine and I became friends, and it was an interesting interesting relationship that just didn't last very long because she was just visiting the United States. She was in some sort of a college program. And then when that ran out, her visa ran out. So she went back to South Africa. And then I haven't heard from her again, and I'm glad.
You know, I just wanted to go over this with you. You know, you play the keyboard now.
Right.
In some of your, I'm sure on your, because you have a contract that you put out there, and you have a writer that goes with it. Do you ever put 7-foot or 9-foot Kanabi or Steinway or anything like that, or you just say piano, tuned and ready to go, Yamaha? Or, I'm not sure what your preference is.
We talked about this a little bit last time.
Yeah, but you never did tell me.
I like Kawai. I have a Kawai GS60, which is the piano that you're hearing on this album, by the way.
Right.
And I had it just in my home studio in Huntington Beach. I mean, I made this album basically alone in my studio, except for 2 tunes I recorded here in Denver, Dreamers and what's the other one? Maybe it was just Dreamers on this project. Yeah, it's just Dreamers, I think. That I did here at FTM Studios with Joe Andrews on flute and a couple other guys. But a piano, I mean, pianos are like individual people. It's just, you know, somebody who gets, you'll find with classical people, okay, I've got a Stradivarius violin. Well, that doesn't make it great because one person might like that Stradivarius and another one couldn't get a sound out of it. So it's an individual thing, and you show up at these gigs. I've shown up and I've seen everything known to man. We ended up, speaking of the contract, we actually had to put, this was after I did a gig here in Denver, where I showed up and McCoy Tyner had played the piano the night before me, and it was destroyed. If you ever seen McCoy Tyner play, it's like he's like, yeah, he tore it up, and so, you know, I was playing it, and this key wouldn't come up, and then this one wouldn't go down, and then this one was stuck.
Oh,
so we ended up putting in the contract 88 working keys.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
You have to say it's 88 working keys.
Do you like the keys weighted?
Oh, yeah.
So that way they have a really nice bounce to it.
Yeah, I mean, you get to that kind of a
because you're doing 7ths and 9ths and augmented everything, so.
Well, a lot of fast rhythms, like I like to play a lot of 64th notes.
Yes.
And you have to have good repeating function on those things where you're bouncing the key a certain way.
Because that's the way your fingers roll.
Well, yeah, but then the problem happens is that I get on one of these little phones and I can't do a thing. Because, you know, my hands are just, I've been playing the piano. They even make, I found this out, this is hilarious, look at this. So I was talking with an Asian student of mine about a month ago, and she says, well, I'm really wanting to, you know, play some more jazz, but I'm working on the Rachmaninoff right now. And I'm thinking, Rachmaninoff's music, like, he had bigger hands than Shaq. Like, his hands were so huge. And she said they actually make a 3/4 size piano. Whoa. For people with little hands to be able to play Rachmaninoff.
Serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like shrunk down about another 8 inches.
Because they have the 73 note type pianos too, right?
Yeah, 61, 49.
Yeah, I didn't know they went down that small.
Well, the MIDI ones, the electronic ones do.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they go all the way down to just like a 1 octave or a 2 or whatever.
You know, just listening to your music, you got to have all the octaves, AD.
Yeah, I like the full range.
Yes, I could tell.
You have to have the full range.
Because you bring out the additive part of the music that you want to generate out there, right?
Right. Well, you know.
Hey, how do you like the way I was saying that?
That was very classy, man.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, now we've got
well, back there.
we got to roll over to Elways now that you've just stepped it up to that notch. You know, have you ever been in a place where they have the background music guys playing? Yeah. You know, do you like that or you hate that? Because usually I hate it.
I hate it too. Sometimes you want to go up there. You almost want to say, let me help you with that.
You know, I probably shouldn't say this, but I always say stuff I shouldn't when I'm on your show because you get me going.
Yeah, sure. We start in the back.
It starts in the back and it gets worse for a whole hour.
Don't be saying that. Don't be saying that live, Henry. I go, no, Rob. It's like you bring the best out in me.
No, okay, this was years ago. This was another relationship thing that kind of happened. So I was in New York and I had played a gig. This was in the early 80s at a place called the Bombay Club. It's at the old governor's mansion at 1228 Grant Street.
Oh, yeah.
And I was playing with Vic Cianetti, and I met this girl on a Friday, and she was hot. She was killing it. Her name was Margaret. And And she came up and the 80s was a different thing. Like, you know, women would follow you into the men's room to give you a kiss on the break. I'm not kidding. Like, that place was crazy. And she came up and she said, I'm from Australia, I'm rich, and I'm going to New York tomorrow. Do you want to go?
Whoa.
And I was like, and I don't know, I was like 20, and I said, I have to ask my mom.
You did not.
I did.
Oh, and you went and asked your mom.
Well, I took her over to meet my mother, and I said, we're on our way to Denver, to Stapleton, and she's paying for everything, and I'm going to New York, so I'll see you. And my mom was like, give me your phone number. Oh, why don't I tell your father? You know, so I get out there, and we go to this place recommended. It's called Luna's in Little Italy, and there's a musician playing over there, and the music's really bad. And, I mean, you know, if you're a musician, you're going to get food poisoning.
Just from listening? Just
from listening to what's going on. So, this is the first time I ever did this. I walk over to the guy and I said, what time is your break? And he said, in about 10 minutes. And I put $20 in his hand. I said, why don't you take your break now?
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was like, okay, thank you. And he stopped playing. You know, because sometimes the people in the restaurants that are playing are the ones that can't get a real gig, but they got to support themselves somehow. And you know, I'm not hating on these people or whatever,
I understand.
and I've had to do those gigs too. But I turn them into a comedy gig.
Yeah, a fun time.
Yeah, to have a fun time, so somebody will come walk.
Or like with Rob, he likes the baby making music times, and he always comes here around Valentine's Day, which is really cool because last year we gave away a basket. Now I was supposed to have a cake today. This gal, she makes cakes, and she was going to bring it in here live, and I think she just spaced it out. And I didn't hit her up because I said, oh, well.
She flaked on the cakes. Well, we had a fruit and nuts basket last year, and boy, we got a lot of comedy mileage out of that.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was hilarious.
And it came out really, really nice. So it's,
yeah, so I don't know. Some of the songs are about actual people on this album, and speaking of, you know, bad gigs, let me tell you about how I wrote this song called Making Love. It just rolled by in the background, but when you get the album on Apple or whatever, it's track number 5. Yeah, it's track number 5 if you're
hoping to.
Yeah, so Making Love. So, so I'm playing at this, like, cocktail party. There's, you know, 83 or 84, and it's in Denver. I think it was at, like, this Cherry Creek place. So there's all these rich people walking around and stuff, and I'm playing along, and you know, in those days, we did a lot of gigs that I like to term jazz to ignore. So, because nobody's listening, you know, so you could try stuff. And once in a while you get some jerk like a Rob Mullins to come up and say, here's $50, go home. But you can experiment.
Here's $50, you know, go home.
You can, well, in those days, that's about what a gig would pay
that's
anyway.
Right, yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm playing, and somebody had asked me for Pink Panther. And I'm like, ba-ba, ba-boom, boom, ba-ba, ba-boom. And I played the tune, and they gave me a tip, and then it was break time. And I thought, Pink Panther is such a cool tune. What if I took the swing feel out of it and made it straight eighth notes and changed the rhythm a little bit, and I ended up with this bass line that goes do-do, do-do, ba-ba-da-ba. Exact same notes as Pink Panther.
So it came out really, really nice.
And then I thought, oh, I better write this down. And so I wrote it down, and then a few weeks later I went into the studio and, you know, fleshed the whole thing out and this and that. But
and we talked about this last time, Rob. How do you pick your musicians that come and help you on the backside, or do you do just pre-recorded tracks, or?
Oh yeah, well, you know.
Because I know some of them that you like to have a few live musicians right in there.
Yeah,
because,
I mean,
man, the value of your music is so good.
Well, it's an interesting thing because I have a new album that hasn't come out yet. It's called This Way Up, and it features musicians that I met here in town before the virus hit. So what was crazy about it, I'm sitting at Dazzle, and they had been, I don't know, a year ago December, they had a Thursday night jam session.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there at the bar, and I'm having a cocktail, and there's this guy next to me, and, you know, he's having a beer, and then we start talking about this and that. Oh, yeah, you like this? Oh, yeah, you like that kind of music? Yeah, I really like that. Oh, well, where are you from? I'm from Philly area. Where are you from? L.A. Oh, well, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Then all of a sudden, the guy hosting the jam goes, Now I'd like to bring up two special guests, Rob Owens and Liam Zom. And then he stands up, and I stand up, and I didn't even know he was a musician. We had just been shooting the breeze. So we both got up on stage and we started playing, and it was like perfect. It was
those are like that when you just.
It was perfect.
It's like a match made in heaven. It's
Yeah.
like you just know where each other's going.
It's like, it's like mind reading without having the discussion.
Unspoken words.
The unspoken, just a solid connection.
Yeah.
And Liam he's a younger guy. I think he's probably about 24 or something like now. Moved back to the Philly area when COVID got so bad. I still talk to him on Instagram, but he's all over my new live album, which I'm going to put out once we can go live. I mean, I had a party set up at Dazzle that was canceled. But he and I talked, and we became really close friends after that, and I just had him come right into the studio and play. It was his first big album project, and then it got shelved. It's kind of a bummer for him.
And you know what's nice, Rob? You've done some really good things, but let's talk about this COVID thing. It's sat a lot of small-time people, intermediate, local, regional, and national artists down. Now, there's some that just continue on, doing their music because it's what they love to do now. How did you deal with this?
I just went to the liquor store. That's where I started.
I told you you're not supposed to say this. We went back there. We went over everything. Bob, don't get me started.
I went to the liquor store and then I went to the unemployment line. I mean, seriously.
Well,
because I had all these gigs. I had stuff lined up all over the place, and
just gone down there.
And I had to just shelve everything. I mean, I just had to stop because the clubs were gone. So in LA, nobody really knows this, but I had a Friday and Saturday at this private place where it was like a celebrity steakhouse. You see Shaq come in there, and James Worthy, and Kanye was in there one night. Jay-Z came in with Beyonce after, a big event at Staples or whatever. They weren't even allowed to open.
Whoa.
They were just done.
Yeah,
it was just like, it's over, and, no more gig.
Yeah.
That was Friday and Saturday nights. That was a big gig. Sometimes
and then
I'd do really well with the tips. So then they would say, okay, we're going to open, the government would say, okay, everybody can open. Oh, no, it's 4 hours later, everybody can close. Okay, now we're open 10%, now we're closing. Now the school teachers are going back, now there's no school. And, for anyone that's a gig economy worker like I am, I've always been self-employed, there was no choice, man. It was the unemployment line. That's the only way.
I have a nighttime gig that was doing really, really well. So
I've seen you down there on North Larimer, yeah.
Well, no, let me tell you. On my unemployment application form, I had to put, burglar, no more work, everybody's home. So it ain't working anymore, Rob. It's like
burglar, out of work, everybody's home. That's classic.
So
when the stuff started to open, then there was no music because you can't have the band.
That's right.
Like that particular place, the whole stage was about the size of these two tables in the studio. So the bass is right on you, drums right on you.
Yeah.
The piano was nice and it went off to the side, but no.
And they wanted everybody to be masked up. How's the sax player supposed to be masked up? How's the wind instrument supposed to do?
The mask thing is really hilarious because now they're
double masking.
They're going double, and then I was just thinking to myself, well, I'm just going to go buy a box of those. I almost did this. I was going to just buy a whole box of like 20, and just keep on putting more and more on until either you wouldn't be able to understand me or my ears would just shoot off my head from all those straps on there. Because it's gotten really out of control.
It has.
And, human beings are not really designed to cope with these kinds of problems that are going on. It's really weird.
Well, Victoria's Secrets has even having a tough time keeping in business and stuff, but their marketing department is very, very smart.
Now, see, folks, this is the crazy thing. Is like, how does he segue? We're talking about green chili sauce, and he's at Victoria's Secret already.
No, wait. Talking about masks.
Yeah.
Okay, so
do they sell those at Victoria's Secret?
Well, they weren't being able to bring people in because of the COVID thing. So the marketing department turned around and says, "Here's our new masks."
Oh, so how many did you get?
10. 10 boxes. I was going to say 10, but 10 boxes.
You should give them out on your night gig.
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret with Henry.
You know, we always talk back to me and Rob bust up, we tell jokes and all these things start flying, but we both know once we come here into the studio what's going to happen. And Rob just brings that out on me. I blame him. He brings in this baby making music.
Baby making.
And then he wants, you know, I was just thinking of Victoria's Secret's going out of business and masks.
Ah, it's crazy.
Well,
yeah, everybody.
Have you seen how nice those masks look?
No, because I don't
Victoria's
shop at women's lingerie stores, Henry. I don't hang out there, is number one. Number two, next time you call me with a bail request from Cherry Creek Victoria's Secret, I'm going to be broke all of a sudden.
Yes, he says, come on, Rob, it's only $175.
Yeah.
He says, no.
No. Hey, right now for the people that are tuned in on radio, we're listening to Ten Nue Ni. And that is actually a Burmese, they call it Myanmar or something now, but this was a Burmese girl, and it was her actual name that I met in Huntington Beach at that gig.
Wow.
That I had a nice, like, 6 months.
And her name is
that's her name.
Differently, yes.
Ten Nue Ni.
And here's the way it's spelled, T-I-N space N-W-E space N-I.
Right.
So
yeah, crazy.
That's a great name.
But she went by Sue, you know. So.
What's your name, Sue?
Sue. But, you know, a sweetheart of a girl. And, you know, as far as the cover goes on this, too, that was an interesting thing because I had, you know, speaking of live musicians and non-live musicians, as you know, I'm a drummer and I'm a computer guy. So I had been working on all these demos on this project, Music for Lovers, in my home studio by myself. And I was trying to get a record deal at that time because I wasn't signed to a label. So in those days, you make a cassette tape and you start sending it out to radio and labels and this and that. And I had made a big stack of cassettes and I printed all the letters and I said, "Dear Mr. Radio Person, dear Mr. Label President, I have these demos. And I'm sending them to see if you'll sign and maybe put out my album." So I sent, I don't know, 70, 80, 90 of these out. Silence. I heard not one thing from one person. I was so crushed. I was so mad. And then I realized I'd been touring with the Crusaders and Hubert Laws, and I had an Amex Platinum card. So I went, and I looked over that one night, and there's the girlfriend's earrings were right there on the night table. And I was like, if I put those together, that's going to look like the international symbol of men and women.
That's
together.
right.
If you look at that
female,
cover,
male.
female, male. And you see that on the cover of this. And I said,
Music for Lovers.
Music for Lovers, the brand new remaster. That's.
I made a boo-boo on the poster for that. I just put the release, the new release. I had to put the new re-release.
The new re-release.
I changed it real quick.
Well, there's lots of re's in the world. So, but anyway, I did that for the cover, and then I said, I got a platinum card. I'm going to make up 100 CDs, and I'm going to send them out to people. Maybe that way I'll get some more attention. Dude, WNUA in Chicago, boom, they put it on. CD 101 in Connecticut, boom, they put it on. KUTE in LA, boom, they put it on. KJAS, they put it on.
Everybody.
KBLX, boom. So all of a sudden, about 3 months after I had finished these demos, which were not supposed to be released, my phone starts ringing. Hey, Rob, it's Warner Brothers. Oh.
Now you want me.
Hey, Warner Brothers. Oh, yeah, we've been hearing a lot of good stuff about your new album. What's it sound like? And I said, well, about 3 months ago, I sent you a cassette. That's what it sounds like. Did you ever listen to it? Did you? Because, you know, and to be fair to those label guys, they get so much material sent to them, probably just like you.
Yeah, but, you know, we take time. I say 2 weeks to get it listened to.
Right.
Why 2 weeks? Because we get so many coming in here.
You know, it's hilarious. Now, let me ask you this. This is like kind of a personal question, but it's also a media.
It's not about my nighttime gig.
It's not about you.
It's not about
your new Batman Victoria's Secret outfit. Because I saw those pictures on the way.
See, he gets started. See, he wonders why.
You put Batman, Robin, and Victoria's Secret together, and you get Henry After Dark. And that'll be the new show that we're going to do. It's going to be called Henry After Dark.
Henry After Dark.
You know. But and people are well-meaning. Like, I think people are well-meaning, but I have 5,000 Facebook friends. I have 926 Facebook fans. I know more than 10,000 people personally. I have email lists of about 60,000 contacts I've amassed over a 20-year period at the Grammys and as a traveler. So everybody wants me to watch a video. And they're so excited. They're like, I just saw this great new documentary about Alaskan aardvarks with this new kind of forked tongue that's only a species that happens only outside of Anchorage, and I wanted to share it with you. And I go, okay, thanks. And then, a week goes by,